We're live. Welcome to our 30-minute live Q&A session. Again, I'm Ivy, your go-to immigration lawyer. And as usual, we have Denise with us here, our Spanish translator. Hola, Denise. How you doing?
Hola, hola. Muy buenos días. I'm doing really good. Thank you. Happy to see you here.
Yes, gracias. Thank you so much for your help. Today, we're excited for the topic today. We're going to be discussing your adjustment of status process. This is a complete guideline to help you understand the requirements, the timelines, and just the general expectations when you are adjusting your status, getting the green card, especially through marriage. Okay, so come on in. Make sure you're sharing this live with your friends. Invite your friends over. Ask questions during the lives, and we're going to answer your questions at the end of the live. Okay?
Muy bien, entonces bienvenidos. Hoy vamos a hablar sobre su ajuste de estatus. Les vamos a dar una guía bien lineada para que todo su proceso en su ajuste de estatus se haga correctamente y sea todo más fácil. Compartan este live, vengan, vamos a aclarar todas sus dudas y estamos listos.
Gracias, Denise. Today, we're diving deep into the topic of adjustment of status. This is what we do here primarily at the Marriage Green Card Law Firm. We help clients get their green cards, adjust their status so that they can live in the USA and work here. But I just want to remind you all before we get into the topic that we are ending February in a couple of days, and we're still running our 50% off the consultations, okay? 50% descuentes, all right? So make sure you're clicking on the link in the bio, in the comments, just anywhere in this live, you're gonna find our link to book a consultation with me so you can get guidance on filing your adjustment of status, especially through family, because we're a family-based immigration law firm. So hurry up, don't forget, and it is still Black History Month, guys. I haven't really talked about it that much on our pages, but we're all immigrants, all from different space, and we're here in the USA, or at least trying to get into the USA. So we're honoring our heritage and our culture this Black History Month, and also honoring you as our supporters. And those of you who tune in every Tuesday and Thursday, thank you very much, so that you can get access to this service, at least know your options to adjust your status in the USA.
Muy bien, estamos compartiendo aquí nuestros links. Van a poder encontrar si necesitan asesoría directa. Por favor, no duden en agendar directamente con Ivy. Tenemos nuestros links con el 50% de descuento porque estamos celebrando el mes del amor y también celebrando nuestra descendencia afroamericana. Esto es así para que podamos celebrar y por favor no duden en agendar. Muy bien.
Sí, gracias. Thank you. So now let's dive deep. Let's get into the topics. The most frequently asked questions are usually about the requirements, like how do I qualify to adjust my status? It's a very important question, right? Because if you're going to live and work in the USA, you're going to live here permanently, you need a green card. This is the first step in the process. So whether you already have your green card, or if you're just married to a U.S. citizen, this topic is going to be very important for you, because those who are 2-year green card holders still need to know what the requirements are to get your permanent green card, which is going to then lead you to your U.S. citizenship. So very important live, guys. Make sure you're sharing it and inviting your friends. I already see some shares on TikTok. Thank you very much. And for those of you on Instagram and YouTube and Facebook, welcome. I'll prepare your questions as we're going through the points today that we can answer you. I'll just try to see if I see anyone that pops up relating to what I'm saying. I'll answer you right away, but towards the end, we're going to just get into the Q&A part of this live. All right? Gracias. Okay, so now let's discuss. First and foremost, Denise, well, if you see any comments or anything, let me know, because I can't really see the comments coming from Instagram. But if you see any comments, let me know so we can answer that. But first and foremost, many of you know that the most common way to get your green card in the USA is through marriage. It's not the only way, right? But that's the most common way, and that's one of the ways that we help clients here at the law firm, hence the name, the Marriage Green Card Lawyer. Okay, so, but if you're looking to adjust your status through a family, you're going to be thinking of the requirements, like what are the main things I need to look at, or what do I really need? First of all, you need to first of all be eligible, right? One of the things you need to know is, do I have a U.S. citizen or permanent resident spouse? Right? Am I legally married to a U.S. citizen or a permanent resident? That's your first question you ask yourself. If you're looking to adjust your status through marriage, you're going to want to make sure that you're in a legal marriage with a U.S. citizen or a permanent resident. Okay, this is quite different from just, dating or being in a long-term relationship, right? You need to be legally married, meaning you've gone to court, you're fully divorced, one, and then you've gone to a courthouse somewhere in the USA. It could be abroad, wherever, but first of all, legal marriage to a U.S. citizen is one of the main requirements, because without that, there's really no adjustment of status. Does that make sense? Entonces,
Yes, all right. It does make sense. Muy bien. El primer punto aquí sería para saber si somos elegibles para ajustar nuestro estatus. Obviamente, la green card a través del matrimonio es lo más común, pero no es la única opción. También puede ser a través de otros familiares. Pero pues en el caso de que estés tratando de ajustar por parte del matrimonio, lo primero que te convierte en elegible, I'm sorry, lo primero que te convierte en elegible sería que estar legalmente casados. Es importante porque la diferencia entre una relación de mucho tiempo y un papel que realmente legaliza el matrimonio es lo que te convierte en elegible para poder ajustar tu estatus a través del matrimonio.
Exactly. Thank you very much for that explanation, Denise. Once somebody is legally married to a U.S. citizen or a permanent resident, then they're on their way towards adjusting their status. Now, if you got married outside the USA for whatever reason, maybe you even lived abroad with your U.S. citizen spouse. I've seen that happen. Sometimes the U.S. citizen goes abroad to live, and then that's where you meet and get married and all that. So, but if you do get married abroad or anywhere else, you may have to do a consular process, which is different from an adjustment of status. But if you are in the USA somehow, either on a tourist visa or a student visa or any other type of work visa, and you're married to a U.S. citizen, the process that you're gonna go through to get your green card is called adjustment of status. And to do that, the first thing you're going to think about is, do I have my legal entry? Do I have my I-94? Because this is the only way you're going to be allowed to put in your I-485, which is the form that says adjustment of status. I think it's application to adjust status. That's what it's called. So your I-485 is going to be your adjustment of status form. And with that adjustment of status form, you're going to put in the evidence of your marriage. Because remember, guys, point one that I mentioned is that you need to be married to a U.S. citizen. So if you're going to adjust your status, you need to show them evidence of your relationship, your marriage license, your proof of income of your U.S. citizen spouse, because the U.S. citizen spouse has to earn a certain amount of income to support you in this application. And then you also add in your medical examination, because those people who are applying for a green card, whether outside the USA or inside the USA, you're going to need to do a medical exam. Okay. That medical exam if you don't complete that exam, you could be found inadmissible. All right. So being eligible is one thing. Being admissible is another thing. You're married to a U.S. citizen, but if you don't meet the financial requirements or you don't meet the medical requirements, you could definitely get a denial. So this is a very important requirement, guys, to adjust your status. Financials from the U.S. citizen spouse, and then your medicals. And I get a lot of questions about those financials. After the topic, I'm going to get more into that to discuss what the USCIS is looking for in terms of financials. Okay? All right. Entonces, gracias.
Muy bien. Entonces, pues sería El primer punto, si te casas fuera del país, tendrás que pasar por un proceso consular, pero si estás dentro del país, se llama ajuste de estatus, que es justamente lo que estamos tratando de aclarar en el proceso del día de hoy. Lo primero que tenemos que pensar es si tenemos la forma de aplicación para el ajuste de estatus, o sea, la prueba de matrimonio, el certificado de matrimonio, prueba de ingresos suficientes por parte de la persona que solicita, el solicitante. Vamos a aclarar un poquito más cuánto es el ingreso necesario para la persona que solicita a su esposo, pero también tienen que entregar exámenes médicos. Sin los exámenes médicos y sin los ingresos suficientes necesarios demostrables, es muy probable que no seas elegible. Una cosa es que puedas aplicar, que tengas la manera de aplicar, y otra cosa es que te den permiso, ya que falta comprobar que tienes suficiente ingreso, y si también te faltan los exámenes médicos, ahí son dos puntos importantes a tener en cuenta. ¿Ok? Más adelante vamos a hablar un poquito más al respecto, pero esos son dos puntos muy importantes: los ingresos financieros a demostrar y los exámenes médicos.
Gracias. Very important, muy importante, guys, because I'm going to add one thing actually to that explanation, Denise, for the need for translated documents, because we're now working with a lot of clients. Well, we work with clients all over the world, but now if you're in any country that's your primary language is not English and your marriage certificate is in maybe Espanol, Spanish, or French. We've seen different ones, Arabic. I've seen so many different languages that we've worked with. Make sure that when you're doing your adjustment of status, you submit translated documents into English. That's a huge requirement, because this will help prevent any requests for evidence that could cause delays. My next one is going to be about processing timeline. I know you all are itching to hear about that one, but you know, for when it comes to document requirements, your documents need to be in English, and they need to show that you have a real marriage, your spouse earns enough, and you meet the other requirements for medical. I see someone on the chat asking about what the medical form is looking for. I'll get into that in a little bit. But Denise, make sure everyone knows that there is the need to translate the documents. And we do offer translation services anyway. So if you're coming to us as a client and your documents are not in English, we will help you with that. But that's something to keep in mind, especially just to keep it moving quicker, because we're dealing, this is, the USA is an English speaking country. And even though there are so many people from all over the world, they process their documents in English. So does that make sense?
Muy bien, entonces aquí un punto bien importante a remarcar es la traducción de todos sus documentos. A la hora de probar que tienes un income suficiente, si te casaste fuera del país y en realidad tu certificado está en español, quizá en francés o en árabe, no importa la lengua en la que esté tu papel original, es necesaria la traducción oficial del documento para poderlo procesar directamente con el gobierno de Estados Unidos. I also wanted to mention we have the wife of Manuel René. He's a client of us. He's saying hi in Spanish to us, and she says she's happy to be here.
Hola, Yay. Hola, OMG! I heard about you. What's your name? By me? Is it by me? Thank you so much, from Ecuador. Wow. So I heard, yes, this is such a great meeting. Let's chat. Send me a DM after the live, because I heard that you're a big fan. So thank you very much for being here.
Shirley, I think it's her name.
Yeah. Shirley? Okay. Hi, Shirley. Thank you for being here. Wow. So cool. So I see some questions coming in from Instagram, and there's already a bunch on TikTok. Let me answer one or two questions, and then I'll get to the final point, which is the processing timeline for adjustment of status. This is a huge question that we get like all the time. Everybody wants to know how long it takes. Understandably so, right? Because you have a life. You need to move on with your life here in the USA. So I'll get to that point, but let me answer Laura. Was that Laura or Lady? Lady Hawkins on TikTok, thank you very much for your question. The question says, what are they looking for in the medical forms? All right. Medical forms, like we said, very important for your adjustment of status, just getting your green card in general. So I'll tell you what they're looking for, lady. They're looking to see if you have any communicable diseases or any mental disorders that could potentially affect your, what's the good word to use here, but it'll potentially affect your participation in the USA, right? If you have a communicable disease, you could definitely transfer that if you come to live permanently here, or if it's a mental health disorder, something that really affects your quality of life, you're not going to be the best candidate for a green card, because green card holders are coming into the USA to live and work and contribute. That's the word. You're not going to be able to contribute properly as a permanent resident if you have some of these things. So the medical is essentially to make sure you're a healthy individual. You've taken all your vaccines, so there's no chance of you essentially becoming like a health hazard in the USA. Does that make sense, lady? And Denise, this is great info to let Espanol viewers know.
Yes.
So, entonces, I love saying it.
Entonces, yes. Entonces, and then, so, para los exámenes médicos, lo que ellos están buscando, más importante es saber que usted va a ser un individuo saludable, que por ningún motivo se va a convertir en un potencial riesgo de salud para la comunidad dentro del país. Buscan que usted esté vacunado completamente y que en general usted sea capaz de elaborar una jornada completa o con una salud regular que le permita contribuir a la sociedad. Es importante porque de esa manera usted va a poder ya con sus papeles en mano médicos, demostrar que tiene la capacidad física de sacar adelante a una familia una vez entrando a los Estados Unidos.
Gracias. Great point to bring up. Lady, thank you for your question. I see another one from Laura, and this is on TikTok as well. I see from Gabrielle on Instagram. I will get to the Instagram, guys. Thank you very much for watching. Let's do Laura's first, because this is relating to the income requirement. Because, guys, remember I mentioned that to adjust your status, you need to meet that financial requirement. Your U.S. citizen spouse needs to be able to show that they earn enough income for this purpose, okay? So Laura says, what if we don't have access to previous pay stubs? I switched jobs a month ago and can't get them. Okay, Laura, if you switch jobs and you filed your taxes, or you have W-2s, because I believe, well, your previous job should have sent you a W-2 for tax filing purposes, right? You could potentially maybe request that. That should be okay to show your income, your past income and current income. What you're looking for is actually your current income, like 3 to 6 months of pay stubs going forward. So with your new job, just start adding those pay stubs together. And worst case scenario, you have to submit this stuff before you can get it 3 to 6 months, because April 1st, those fees are going up, guys. I didn't even mention that in the beginning, but yeah, fees are going up April 1st for adjustment of status, like a huge increase. But anyways, let's say for whatever reason you're not able to get enough pay stubs. USCIS usually will send a request for evidence if there's something that they need to make sure the applicant is qualified, meaning the non-citizen, because right now we're talking about adjustment status, which they're mainly looking at the applicant's information. This is about admissibility. Can you actually get this green card? Okay, so just keep on doing what you're doing. I think it's not going to be much of an issue. Laura, you're going to still be able to do this process. Just make sure you're still in the job and you actually meet the income requirements. Okay? All right. Hope that's clear. Gracias.
Gracias. I have a little alarm in the background. Is it too noisy?
Oh, no, I actually didn't hear it.
Okay, I'm happy to hear it.
Yeah, I don't think so. Yeah, it's okay. I mean, at the end of the day, life is happening around us, right? We're living, and I know our audience is very open to
yes,
supportive. Yeah, they just take us as we are. Okay, so
okay,
that's cool. Yeah, thank you
Muy
very much.
bien, al respecto de esta pregunta, sí están tratando de juntar todos sus comprobantes económicos y han cambiado de puesto de trabajo últimamente y no los pueden juntar con mucha anterioridad. En realidad es que ellos realmente quieren juntar de la fecha actual 6 meses hacia atrás. Con eso, si no tenías antes todos tus papeles juntos, mientras inicias tu proceso, lo más probable es que puedas juntar por lo menos 6 meses de comprobante y el peor de los escenarios sería que tuvieras que entregarlo antes de poder juntarlo. Pero en realidad lo que quieren saber es que sí puedes comprobar tu ingreso.
Gracias. Great explanation for that. I actually saw another question on Instagram that was related to what we're talking about. I'm going to answer that one and then get into the last point for today, which is the processing timeline for adjustment of status, especially through marriage. We'll talk about that in a bit. But Gabriella on Instagram, thank you very much for your question. Gabriella is asking something that I think we should definitely address, because some people are under the impression that once you're married to a U.S. citizen, getting a green card or becoming a U.S. citizen is kind of automatic, right? I see that a lot. And surprisingly, I mean, I'm shocked that people think that, but it is. That's why we're here, to make sure you're getting the right information about getting your status. Don't just go live with someone and imagine that, oh yeah, I'm a citizen because I'm married to a citizen. Okay. So Gabriella's question says, hello, I would like to talk about my situation. If you did not apply for a green card after 3 years of marriage, can I apply for citizenship without holding a green card? Okay. Thank you again, Gabriella, for bringing this up so that we can have the opportunity to share about it. Essentially, in order to become a U.S. citizen, you need to hold a green card for 3 or 5 years. The timeline depends on how you got your green card. Okay, I got my green card through my parents, so I had to wait for 5 years to become a U.S. citizen. If you get your green card through marriage, you can get your citizenship in 3 years. So here, Gabriella has been married for 3 years and assumes that 3 years is enough time to get her citizenship. But Gabriella, unfortunately, you do have to hold a green card to apply for U.S. citizenship. That's just standard. There's no way around that. And the reason is just simply because they need to vet you. Like, how do you just walk up to the government and be like, yeah, just make me a citizen? No, they need to vet you as a permanent resident. Keep in mind that permanent residents can actually lose their residency if they don't meet up, okay? If you commit certain crimes, you're out. Certain things, just really depends. Fraud, you're out. They're not even playing around. But when it comes to being a U.S. citizen, they check your history as a permanent resident. So for the past 5 years, have you committed any crimes, paid your taxes, things like that? They will consider those things and then say, okay, you can become a U.S. citizen. Now you can vote and have additional privileges. You can live wherever you want in the world, right? Because permanent residents can't really do that. You have to be in the USA as a permanent resident. So great question, Gabriella. But definitely get your green card, girl. Okay, reach out to us. Let's help you with that process.
I think it's a he. It's Gabrielle. But
Gabrielle. Okay, so I guess it's Gabrielle and then the last name.
yes.
I couldn't really say that. Okay, Gabrielle, thank you for your question. You definitely need to get your green card. Okay.
Yes.
All right. Reach out to us. Let's help you do that process ASAP. If you want to beat the form fee increase, we can try to do that. It's about to be March, guys. Unbelievable. It's about to be March in a second. So reach out to us.
Be in December. Yeah.
I know, bro, it's moving quickly. So I hope that answers your questions. Please give me a thumbs up if you're getting any value from this live. If I'm answering your questions, you feel comfortable, at least you understand, what you need to do moving forward. Okay. So
a little bit of Spanish on that question.
Sí.
Sí podemos aplicar o no a ser residentes, a la ciudadanía sin haber pedido nuestro permiso de green card. No es posible convertirse en ciudadano aunque ya tengamos muchos años de casados, porque el gobierno necesita que usted esté en el récord como residente permanente para poder ver su historial y en base a cómo ha sido su comportamiento dentro del país, dentro de ese tiempo, se le permite o no seguir con su ciudadanía. Si usted es un ciudadano, un residente permanente y todavía no le parece un buen candidato, es probable que se quede fuera y no se le otorgue la ciudadanía. Es por eso que la aplicación a la Green Card es una etapa que es obligatoria para poder convertirse en residente.
Gracias, Denise. We'll talk about our final point, and I see Gabriel give us a prayer hand, so he heard the answer, and I think he's going to reach out to us after the live. Yay. So, but just to get through the last point so we can keep on answering the questions, because I see like almost 30 messages on TikTok alone. So, and I see some on Instagram too. So let's just get through this last final point. I know a lot of people really want to know how long it takes to actually get your green card. So the processing timeline for adjustment of status really, really depends. And this is like the most frustrating answer ever that people, whenever they ask me, so how long is it going to take? And I'm like, well, it could take anywhere from 3 months to 2 years. They're like, what? Because that's such a huge, timeline. But in reality, that's what we see happening here with our clients. We see green cards taking anywhere from as little as 3 months. I'm talking, you apply, you get your receipt notice in a week. You get your biometrics in 2 weeks, and then you get your work permit in a month. And then after that, you get your green card if they waive your interview. That's just, I've seen that really happen multiple times. On our Facebook group, people are always sharing those types of timelines. But I've also seen people who have everything, great married, they even have a child together. They wait for at least a year. So realistically, it's going to take about a year for most adjustment of status processes, especially if you're doing it the one-shot way, meaning you're applying for your petition and your adjustment of status at the same time. So you could expect a year, 2 years, but don't let it pass 2 years, because after a certain time, after a certain processing time, you can actually request for expedites. You can request help from your Congress. There are different ways to actually get the USCIS to make a decision on your case. So don't wait too long, but not 4 weeks type of situation. I see some people in the lives on TikTok, they'd be like, oh, I've been waiting for 4 weeks. I didn't get my work permit. I'm like, this does not happen. Okay. They don't, it might happen for your friend, but it's not a typical thing to expect and then be stressed out about it. Like, why stress? Stressing ain't ever helped nobody. Okay. So don't stress. Just watch our lives, entertain yourself, go on our group, read people's stories and drama, see what's going on with everyone else, and be thankful, because the more you're thankful about them getting their green cards, the more you're going to attract your own green card to yourself. Okay, that's really what you can do. That's the only thing you can control. So timeline-wise, it's going to really just depend. Complexity of your case, whether you receive an RFE. Now, RFEs sometimes are inevitable because, it just, you don't know what USCIS is going to ask for. It could even be the same thing you already just sent. I know that's happened to me, and I was mad as heck. But what would I do? I just replied, okay? Because it was a whole bunch of printing for that I-864. It was about the income requirements. And I was like, bro, like, there's no way we did not send this. Like, did you even check? But sometimes they could ask for it, and you just have to send it. But if you have any of these factors, it could cause more delays, okay, in your process. But patience is key. Patience is key. Focusing on the now is also key, because you see that you have a lot of things in front of you. You have your life, you have your spouse. Some people are separated from their spouse for years because of this whole green card. So, but if you're in the USA, these are things you can count your blessings, and more things will be added to you. Okay. I didn't mean to preach on y'all, but I'm a preacher. So, yeah. So, entonces.
Muy bien. Sí. Entonces, ok, el punto sería, ¿cuánto tiempo vamos a tardar más o menos en todo el proceso? Hay visas o hay permisos que se dan en 3 meses. Eso sería un mínimo, porque lo hemos visto pasar muchas veces. Cuando un caso es muy sencillo, todo está muy determinado, puede ser muy rápido, pero realísticamente es alrededor de 1 año a 2 años. No dejamos pasar más de 2 años, porque ya después de cierto tiempo, acercándose a los 2 años, hay maneras legales de impedir que el gobierno expida su proceso o de solicitar que se resuelva una decisión ante su caso. No dejemos pasar más de 2 años. Un poquito antes, acercándose a la fecha límite, puede acercarse a un abogado si necesita asesoría en cómo solicitar que se le resuelva prontamente. También es necesario marcar, bien importante, la paciencia es clave en esto. Hay que ser realistas, la mayoría de los procesos van a tomar ese tiempo. Entonces, una vez aplicando y sabiendo que todos nuestros papeleos están en forma, es importante tener paciencia. Únanse a nuestros lives, entreténganse con la información que les damos aquí abiertamente, aprovéchennos y pues sería nada más cuestión de esperar, ¿ok? Recuerden, el marco de tiempo correcto puede ser de 1 año a 2 años. Y si se pasa un poquito más, acérquense a su abogado.
Okay, gracias, Denise. Thank you very much for that explanation. That was our final point. And I know everyone has burning questions because the comment section is like popping off. Okay, so let's get into the questions, guys. This is the time where I answer your questions for the next 10 to 15 minutes. And if you have more inquiries or you need to discuss more about getting your green card through marriage, you can give us a call. My number is on the screen. If you're watching on Facebook and YouTube and Instagram, if you're on TikTok, my link is going to be in the bio. You can reach out to me. Send me a DM. I'll try to respond. I have like 80 DMs, guys. Like, come on, just book a call with me because 80 DMs is just not even realistic right now. But I'll try my best to answer you as much as I can. And hopefully you all can sign up with us to get your green card through marriage. At this law firm, we value transparency. We value speed. Okay, we work on our clients' cases as quickly as possible to make sure that you're in line and you're not having to just experience unnecessary delays. Okay, so this is what we do here. I see hairstyles by me. Oh, I thought it was by me. Hairstyles by me is modeling. Okay, thank you very much, Arlene, for letting us know that. There's just so many people that we meet off of TikTok and YouTube and everywhere else, and I feel so blessed. I'm like, you're a fan of me. Like, okay, like, I'm just a girl, but thank you very much for your support.
She's asking, what's your name on TikTok so she can find you?
On TikTok, it's IFE Esquire. So on TikTok, you can do at IFE Esquire. You'll find me. We can maybe share the link. If you have the link, just put it in the chats, like my TikTok link, so you can join. Okay. Gracias. Thank you. Okay. All right. I see questions coming in. Let's just start with the ones here. Lady says, what is going on with the live? Is something going on that I'm not aware of? Can you see me still? Can you hear me? Give me a thumbs up.
Actually, Lady said she was about to schedule with us as well, so hopefully we can see her around.
Okay. I'm not sure what she said, what's going on with the live, but anyways, let's just answer the questions I see here. Let me look at the ones on Instagram first, because I appreciate you all asking questions. I don't mean to just keep on doing TikTok, but TikTok guys are relentless. They have questions for days, okay? So let's just go to IG. There's like 2 or 3 questions here. Probably 2 questions, because it's Kelly Weezy. Kelly has like a bunch of questions. And then we have from Wanze Uche, I hope you're watching this, because you've DM'd me like a gazillion times for like a year now. You need to book a call with me, okay? Stop playing. Book a call with me, because I'll answer your questions on this live, and then we'll DM again for 12 months. That's not going to get you your green card, okay? If you really want a service, you will reach out to me and let's help you. So Uche says, how fast does one get a green card with adjustment? And I believe I answered your questions one day when I was speaking about the timeline. Okay, if it's a green card through marriage, you're going to expect 10 months to 24 months, just as a general rule, but it could be 3 months if you're the lucky one, if you're one of the lucky ones, okay? So
and we have Gabriel that he asked, what if he was a student? He needs to apply for the green card, yes or yes, right?
Oh yes. Oh, Gabriel. Oh, a follow-up question from Gabriel. Okay, yes. I think he says, even though I was a student, I guess, is that why you didn't apply for a green card? So maybe he was on F1 status and just felt like he didn't need to apply because he was already in a status. So Gabrielle, if you're still here, give me a thumbs up. But to answer that question, even if you're a student, yes and yes, like Denise said, you do need a green card still because F1 visa is just a non-immigrant visa. It's not a green card. Okay?
From
So
any way, you have to stay into the
stay in the
green
US.
card
Right.
stage and then to be able to apply for a citizen, right?
Correct. Yes. It's not gonna be student visa to citizenship. It's gonna be student visa to green card to citizenship. That's the order of it. Okay. Walter Donna says, how much is your consultations? Consultations right now, up until the end of February, are $99. It'll revert back to the full $199 to speak to an attorney. But right now, we're doing 50% off for the fact that it's the love month is Valentine's, and we do all our cases are based on love, right? We do that, and then we also have Black History Month going on. What else do we have going on this month? Just different promotions essentially. So you're gonna get it for 50% descuentes. Okay. I hope I said that right, Denise.
Yes, descuentos.
Descuentos. Okay. The only thing I learned when I was in Mexico was cuánto cuesta because I needed to know how much.
And give me descuento.
Yes, exactly. So that was
That's something that Mexican loves. They
Yeah.
say they don't, but we like regatear. Regatear is when you're like, hey, give me the descuento, you know?
Oh, like they like to bargain, like all that stuff. Yeah. And I went to the open market. I forgot what it was called now, but it was pretty cool. I mean, I'm used to that stuff from being Nigerian because that's how we do markets. You know, it's not like supermercados. It's just actual
Markets. Yes,
Yeah.
actual mercado.
Yeah, so that's it. So I hope that answers you, Walter. Thank you very much for being here.
We have so many questions on TikTok.
Girl, so many. So let's read the one from Instagram from Kelly. Kelly has different questions. So let me try to make sense of it to see how we can answer you. And Kelly, I hope you're still here. Give me a thumbs up so to make sure you're getting your answers. And if you missed this, there's always going to be a replay on my page so you can get your answers. Okay. So Kelly says, is the immigrant supposed to have an expected financials? Ooh. What if he's not working yet? What about the medicals? What can deny someone? Okay, great questions. Comment based on an immigrant that is on an F1 visa to US. Okay. What else did he ask? Or when the petitioner has bad credit or no credit history or owes some banks. Okay, these are great questions. Kelly, how long does it take to get the EAD? Okay, Kelly was like on a roll, just like asking. And these are great to what we're talking about today, which is adjusting your status through marriage. We're talking about the requirements, talking about the timeline. So Kelly wants to know about the financials and the medicals, which are very important parts of the adjustment. So I'll answer quickly, and Denise, you can feel free to explain to us, and then I will look on TikTok for more questions. Capiche? Yeah. See. All right. So Kelly, to just kind of keep it quick because we have a timeline here. We have a consultation after the live. So to keep it quick to answer your questions, number one, the beneficiary, which is the non-citizen, does not need to show any financials for this process. The financial requirement is for the US citizen, and it's based on how many people are in your household, right? For a family of two, which is pretty common, you need to be earning somewhere a little bit around 25K per year to actually petition for someone, okay? But if you have children and other relatives, other dependents, that's gonna change the amount that you need. So make sure you know that amount. If your spouse is not earning enough, maybe they owe some banks, like Kelly says, they have poor credit or things of that nature that affect your finances, you have the opportunity to include a joint sponsor in this process. Okay, a joint sponsor will also show their own income to support you. And then with that, you should still be able to adjust your status. All right. So what else did you say? To get your EAD, I believe I talked about the timelines. It could really be anywhere from 30 days to a year. All right. Getting your EAD is usually the first thing you get before your green card, but not all the time. I've seen people get their work permits like a month, like they get it in 10 months, and then the next month they get called for their green card interview. So they didn't even really use it or need it. So really all depends. I think I kind of went through most of your questions. If you're so the unemployment part and the credit history part, kind of the same thing. The unemployed, not earning enough income, and you just need financial support, you can get a joint sponsor. Okay, and it does not have to be a relative. Just to throw that out there. All right.
Muy
Sí,
bien.
adelante. Sí.
Perfecto. Entonces aquí las preguntas son si el beneficiario tiene o no que demostrar algún ingreso económico. No, realmente todos los papeleos y los comprobantes de ingreso económico son por parte del ciudadano permanente, del residente permanente o del ciudadano. Es quien debe de demostrar que el ingreso es alrededor de $25,000 anuales, que es más o menos lo necesario para poder patrocinar a una persona, a un familiar. Entonces, si la persona que es el ciudadano o el residente no puede demostrar el ingreso suficiente, existe la opción de traer un tercer patrocinador o un segundo patrocinador fuera, que realmente no tiene que ser un familiar, simplemente alguien que pueda poner su comprobante económico que responda por usted y él se le va a dar el mismo proceso. El proceso puede durar para obtener tu permiso de trabajo una vez aplicando de 30 días hasta un año, aunque generalmente se le da primero, es lo más rápido que se le entrega para que usted pueda seguir con su vida, por lo que probablemente el permiso de trabajo lo tenga mucho antes.
Gracias. Thank you for that. Very detailed questions. Yeah, I think one of the things he said was what can deny someone. I'll just talk about that towards the end, things to avoid if you don't, so you can increase your chances of approval, right? Because all these things are discretionary. USCIS could come back with any reason not to approve you. But if you have an attorney on your side, what we do is fight for you to make sure that your rights are protected and you're getting, what you actually deserve. Okay, so that was great. Thank you, Kelly, for that. And Denise as well. Muchas gracias. Okay. I'm going to read all the ones on TikTok as much as I can. I see one from Lady again. Lady, thank you for your question. Other people, I'm not really ignoring your question because Lady just asked right now. So let's answer Lady and then I'll scroll up and see some more. Lady said, oh, Lady just books. Thank you so much, Lady. Ooh. I'm looking forward to talking with you. Lady says, do you have to use an immigration doctor or can you go anywhere for a medical exam? Great question. You have to use the immigration doctor because they have their specific requirements. Only those doctors know. And something to just keep in mind, the medical exam should not be opened. The doctor is going to give you like a sealed envelope. Just keep that and take it to your interview or submit it with your documents, either one. Okay. Thank you, Lady. All right.
Bien, entonces, ¿sí tiene que ser un doctor específico para sus exámenes médicos? Sí, los doctores especializados en migración es quien le va a ayudar a entregarle los documentos y tienen que estar sellados, así es como los vamos a entregar a la corte.
Okay, gracias. I see a question from Queendom TL. Thank you very much for your question. This is simply just about if USCIS will take cash or checks for the form fees, because you all know whether you're using our service or doing this on your own, you need to pay the government processing fees, because otherwise they'll just return your package and be like, go away. But if you're going to send in your forms, you can use a check or a money order. They will not accept cash. So don't send cash. Very risky. It could get lost in the mail. Don't even do it. Just send a check or a money order. You can even use a credit card. There's a credit card form that they have. You can fill that out. So Quindam, I hope that answers your questions. I'm going to look for more to read. And Denise, feel free to also look through. If you see anyone.
I have one. I see one that I would like. I think everyone would like to know. I think it was Amanda. She was literally asking, why do I need a lawyer for this? Like, why you need lawyers like for this?
Well, I didn't see the particular question, but I'll just answer that. Why you need lawyers? Definitely muy importante. Doesn't mean you can't do it on your own, but lawyers have more experience in doing this than you. simply because we do a lot more green card cases. Meanwhile, you're doing just your green card case. So you haven't seen all the possible scenarios, but we have. So with that experience, we use that to make sure you don't make those same mistakes. You don't fall into the same traps. We also have resources that you don't have access to. You just don't, because most attorneys, we have our own special. I don't know if you all know about the American Immigration Lawyers Association. You're not going to be in that, but I am. So if there's any complications, I could definitely help you figure it out together. So that's why you need a professional, period, regardless of what you're doing. Okay.
We can always research, right? But lawyers know all the roads to get
All
to our
the
means.
routes, the commas, the way to get, I mean, we can finesse that stuff, but you just may not know how to do that. So that's why you need a professional. I always use taxes as an example because I hire tax professionals to help me with my taxes, because this is just something, even though I'm a lawyer, educated, everything, I just don't know what the F I'm looking at, okay? Because I don't do that stuff. Well, give me any marriage-based green card, and I will just tell you before you even say one or two things. I'm like, okay, this, because of the experience, okay? That's the whole point. That's why you go to a professional. And if you feel like, well, lawyers are expensive, that's most of the comments I hear. Number one, that's just a limiting belief in your mind about money. You need to get rid of that. But number two, what is worth more to you, getting your permanent residency where you're going to make hundreds of thousands of dollars over the years versus spending a couple bucks to ensure you don't face mistakes or unnecessary pitfalls?
And I want to make a point on something. When I'm answering the calls, most of the young people that comes in here that don't know why they're calling the lawyer, they've been there for 3 years. They're already past over their time frame on their cases because they did it without the lawyer's help. So sometimes it is doable, but if you feel like you don't know all the roads, just hire the lawyer. We're here to serve you.
Exactly.
We will make it easier for you.
Exactly. Thank you for bringing that up, because all that waiting time you're doing on your own, you might just be wondering, did I make a mistake or did something happen? You don't hear from them. But if you have a lawyer, we can contact the government on your behalf. We can basically fight for you. That's what fighting for you is, versus you just wondering if something went wrong or not. I see some questions on Facebook, actually. I don't know how I missed those, but let's answer some questions on Facebook, because I've been doing TikTok and Instagram. And let's answer on
We
Facebook.
have
Show me
Chevron.
one.
How
Let's do
long
that.
after I sent a request to USCIS to expedite my work permit pending on VAW application, I submitted to complete package. So it's around the same that we have for the working permit.
It's like a timeline question. Okay.
For the work permit, we set at 30 days to 1 year, but for the VAWA now.
Okay, VAWA. Well, it's still the same thing, because VAWA is very interesting, right? That's how I got into doing VAWA self-petitions, because VAWA self-petitions also are based on, it's like a family-based situation, right? A family-based situation that went wrong. When it goes right, you're going to do your regular adjustment of status, I-130, all that stuff, great. But when it goes wrong, meaning there's some form of abuse, that's where VAWA self-petition comes in. However, all the other parts of the application, including the work permit that goes with your I-485, is still going to be under that category of someone who is essentially married to a U.S. citizen, the same C09 category. So the timeline is going to be the same because of that, except for the fact that maybe where you live, if there's any backlogs or anything like that, that would affect the timeline. But you're going to expect the same thing. My VAW clients, I think I've seen someone in California got 5 months. After 5 months, I think the longest I've seen was 11 months. And I don't even know why they did that to that lady, because her son, okay, I don't know. Her son that is like a minor, I think 10 years old, got his work permit after like 2 or 3 months. But the mom got hers all the way to 11 months. So it really just depends, okay, for that timeline. But it's going to be the same. It's not going to be any worse just because it's a VAWA case, if that makes sense. Okay. Thanks for your question. And who was that asked the question? I don't think I can see it.
And yes, I am a U.S. citizen and my wife is a recipient. Does this change the process of applying for a green card or possibly facilitate it?
U.S. citizen.
ACIA recipient.
Say it again. U.S. citizen.
And my wife is a DACA recipient. Does this
DACA.
change? DACA,
Okay.
yes.
Yeah.
This
Okay.
changed the process of applying for a green card, or does it facilitate it?
Okay, great question, Caesar. Thank you very much for that. Uh, Caesar, being a DACA recipient does pose some setbacks in terms of getting the I-94. That's being able, having legal entry. If you're married to a DACA recipient, the best thing to do right now, I believe that's still available for DACA recipients, is to apply for a travel permit. The travel permit allows you to travel outside the USA and come back in without facing issues or some deportations, things like that. So because anyone who didn't have a visa entered the USA, if you leave without getting that travel permit or a waiver or something of that nature, you'll be banned from coming back because you had unlawful presence over all these years. Okay, unlawful presence, no green card for you except you get a waiver or you have to show your I-94. Okay, great question, Caesar. That was something that we just don't talk about enough of. But DACA
So
recipients
it
watching
does
right
not change the process, does it?
now, it does not change the process. It actually it will pose a challenge to adjust if that DACA recipient does not have an I-94. So it doesn't change the process. Same marriage-based, same conditions. The only thing is you need an I-94 to adjust. Otherwise, you have to do a two-step, right? But we want to do a one-step. That's what makes it quicker. So I hope that's clear, Caesar. Thank you very much for that question. You asked us some time ago, so I hope you're still here. Give me a thumbs up, but if not, you can watch the replay afterwards. My name on Facebook is the Marriage Green Card Lawyer, or just everywhere, actually. So just type that in your Google, and you find me. You can follow me and join us every Tuesday and Thursday morning like this for at least an hour. It's usually supposed to be 30 to 45 minutes, but you all got questions for days, okay? Questions for days, and I try to answer them as much as I can before I have to hop into a consultation or anything else going on through the day. Okay, thank you very much for that. Any more on Facebook? Let me see. I see more on TikTok and TikTok, guys. Thank you for your patience or for being here. It's just a lot. Let's see. I see more on maybe Instagram. Let me look at those. Let me know if there's more on Facebook we can answer. There might be some from Madeline. Oh, thank you, Caesar. You're still here. Cool. Well, I see one from Arta. This is from Instagram. Yeah. Arta says, I submitted my documents in September 2021. Okay. For I-130, I-485, and others. I had my interview December 2022. Okay. So about a year later. And after this, they asked me to send my second medical, and I sent it to them, but I don't know what's next. Okay, Arta, what's next is essentially you're about to get approved, essentially. Once you get that RFE for your medical, that's the final step for that. Because it took such a long time to get to you, that's probably why they asked you for another medical, because medicals do expire. So that's really where that's coming from. Them asking you for a second medical is just so they can make a decision on your case. Now, I mean, I'm not promising you an approval, but that's what it looks like. Because if they're going to deny you, they will send you what they call a notice of intent to deny. But they didn't. They sent you an RFE. So take that as a good sign. Be patient. Arta, you will get your green card soon. And if you have any difficulties with that, let's say you get a decision that is not very pleasant, reach out to us. That's still not the end of the road, okay? That's part of the experience I was talking about earlier. We see all sorts of things up and downs with the USCIS. They make mistakes all the time. They deny people for no reason. And we're like, hell no, come back here. Look at this application again. Open your eyes. Look at it and approve it. And they do that because, what the heck, right? It's expensive. It's like people need to move on with their lives. Like, stop playing. That's why we're here. Okay.
I see some more questions on Instagram, a couple of them. Anna, I believe we have Anna. How soon after getting my 10-year residency through VAWA can I apply for citizenship?
Oh, Anna, great question. Earlier, I did talk about that timeline for citizenship, which I said one is 3 years and one is 5 years. So for someone who gets their green card through marriage, you wait for 3 years. For someone who gets their green card through VAWA, you wait for 5 years. Because essentially, you're usually no longer married to the abusive spouse. And even if you were, I think 5 years would just be the timeline because I-360 takes like 3 years to get approved. Like it takes a while. Okay, so you end up needing to get the vow self-petition approved. If you did apply concurrently, you probably get your green card around that time, then have the green card for as long as it takes to then become U.S. citizen. Okay, Arta, I'm glad you got your answer. Thank you very much. Y'all are so amazing. Like, you're still here. I'm like, it's 50 minutes. Y'all still here. Thank you very much. Love it. Love to see it.
And we have Tony.
Okay.
Tony saying, my husband is in the Navy. We want to let the USCIS get the update. My case pending 1 year. My husband's graduation is in June. What can I do?
Husband's in the Navy. Are you in the USA, Tony? Are you looking to travel into the USA, or you want to travel outside to go for your husband's?
It seems like they're looking to travel.
Travel outside. Okay. So you can request to expedite your travel permit, because that would allow you to travel. Expediting your green card is a little stretch because the reasons why they expedite cases is because of financial reasons, financial hardship, or humanitarian reasons, or medical reasons. And all these reasons are tied around the work permit and the travel permit. Okay, so with that being said, if you want to travel, what you would be expediting would be a travel permit, because that would enable you to go for the graduation, do whatever you want while the green card is pending. So you can definitely request to expedite for this reason, especially since he is in the U.S. Navy. There are different benefits that you get as a spouse of someone in the military. So, that's something to explore. But from my experience, what I see is that you will get your travel permit expedited instead of the green card. Does that make sense? Okay. You have your travel documents, so go ahead and travel, girl. Okay? Travel, you're fine. Okay? So go ahead and travel, you're fine. Thank you all for the follows on TikTok. I'm doing my best to answer all the questions that I see.
We're almost an hour in here.
Yes, almost an hour, and we got more questions. I think we're just going to add one additional live for just questions. We already do that, though, on the Facebook group. We do like 45 minutes to an hour one-on-one consultations. Essentially, I just call it consults, even though, I wouldn't necessarily be your lawyer for all intents and purposes, right? Because we didn't sign anything. I don't know you personally. I'm just answering on a public forum. But the group is a bit more private, right, compared to here. And then you get more time with your question because you can ask before the live. So that way you're making sure you're getting an answer. Okay. There's other questions coming on here. Someone's like, what can I do to get an expedite waiver approved? This is from Jenny. There's nothing you can really do to get it approved. You just have to meet the requirements, right? Is it a financial hardship? Show them how you're about to lose your job or maybe lose your house or something because there's no money. That's all you can really do. Or show them just the real serious situations going on. That's how you can potentially get it, moving, but there's no how can I get them to approve it. So you can't do that. Even an attorney can't do that. We just know how to persuade them. Okay, that's our job. Persuasion. I remember in law school doing all these oral arguments and persuasive arguments. They were just teaching us to think in that way. Like, what do I need to show for this person to think in this way that I want them to think? That's what lawyers do, okay? Y'all do not do that. So reach out to me. Let's help you get that together, okay? More questions, guys. Team, let me know if there's anyone you really, really want me to answer. Let me just do that in the next 2 minutes. But after that, for those of you that I missed your questions, my bad. We give you an hour every other day to answer these questions. And sometimes we're not able to get to each and every one of you. So just reach out to me. You can text us. We do have free inquiries. Or you can give us a call or text. We can kind of give you some answers there. But if you do want to speak to me directly, if you need legal advice, if you need an attorney, you need to book a call. Right now it's going for $99. Okay, I think that's pretty great investment to know about your permanent residency. So do that. It's 50% off. After February is gonna go back to $199. That's the usual price. Okay, so make sure you don't miss out.
Entonces, pues hoy ya parece que estamos listos. No olviden suscribirse a nuestro grupo de Facebook. Por aquí van a encontrar nuestros links. Todo el mes de febrero estamos teniendo el 50% de descuento. Aprovechen si realmente necesitan su proceso, facilitarlo y la mano de un abogado. Estamos para apoyarlos y es un placer poder acompañarlos. Muy bien.
Sí, gracias. Okay. So I think that's all for today, y'all. TikTok guys, you always see me coming on TikTok randomly to do, lifestyle lives. So maybe I'll get to some of your questions then, but I really, really appreciate you all for joining here. I see Tom Tom. Tom Tom reminds me of my cat whose name is Tommen, so I call him Tom Tom. Tom Tom is always here on my live. So thank you very much for the roses, for the shares, everything else that you all do to support our law firm and our social media page. So thank you again for being here. And for you, Denise, gracias, Patricia, who makes it all happen. Thank you very much. Yeah, so now we're done for today. We'll do our consultations and hopefully we'll talk to you all, like lady who booked a call already. We'll talk to you during your consults. All right. Thank you and have a blessed rest of your day.
Muchas gracias.
Bye.